Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday afternoon here on Kobold Press. I'm joined by some familiar faces. I'm sure they're not new to you, but we have new information for you. Today's a big day. We're going to be making some big announcements. So I won't spoil that. I'm Dot. I have Wolfgang and Meagan here with me. They'll tell you why they're here in just a second, but we're going to knock out a few just housekeeping things. We're just going to sweep those away so we can get to all the really fun stuff. Remember, there are lots of ways that you can kind of support Kobold Press, both here on our Twitch channel as well as the company at large. We've got a great Patreon. You can become a subscriber. You see our little bar up there where you can fill by subscribing. And, of course, when you see an actual play, we love your eyeballs. Your eyeballs are a great currency for us. Come watch our shows. Come see the content in action because your support is what we need to keep going. So, that's one. Speaking of actual plays, we have a new actual play coming to Kobold Press starting Monday nights at 7 p.m. Literally this upcoming Monday, the 15th. The show is called it's called Order Up. It is a 5e show about cooking in the free city of Zobek. It should be a wacky and kind of bizarre show. I'm very excited about it. Rudy Basso is our GM. We've got
Kobold cuisine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Kobold cuisine. We're meeting Saturday morning. Everybody's meeting for brunch to name the restaurant. They haven't decided to name the restaurant, but Rudy's already started planning. And some of what we're going to talk about today hopefully might get some extra spoilers inside of that campaign if you make sure to tune in. But we can officially announce our cast, and we're very, very excited to welcome Victoria, one of our very own kobold. Also a little bit of a brewmaster, likes to brew. So I thought, why not just see if Victoria wants to come play in a cooking show? And she did, as well as Danny Plagues Games, Flying Serious, Shauna, and of course Autumn Graves, who is a cook, an actual chef by day, which is very, very cool. So I'm excited to see how everything pans out and turns out for this campaign. So make sure to tune in Monday starting at 7. And of course, our Into the Southland games continues every Sunday. So make sure to check that out as well if you need some sneak peeks at the Kickstarter that just closed out. So if you absolutely can't wait for your copy, you can come share some Southland shenanigans with us. I think that's the big announcements that are not the biggest announcement of the day.
They sound good to me.
Yeah, they also okay. Well, if that sounds good to you, boy, howdy, have we got a surprise. I am actually not going to be the one to spoil it. I'm going to let Wolfgang spoil what we've got coming up, but I'm very excited. So Wolfgang, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell everybody what's coming, and then we'll give some sneak previews.
Yes. Well, I'm Wolfgang Baur. I'm the founder at Kobold Press, and I have been excited about this upcoming project for some time. It's called The Vault of Magic. It's our next Kickstarter. It's coming next week, and it is a giant grimoire of magical items that takes me back. I could tell a lot of old tales about where this comes from, but it's a compilation of hundreds, maybe 1,000 magic. Meagan, you're going to have to keep me honest on the numbers. So much magic for 5th edition. Chapter after chapter, weapons, armor, items, potions, the whole 9 yards. And some of the designers we've got are pretty exciting too. And I think we're going to share previews, right? Are we sharing previews? We're sharing previews.
We have some previews. You said chapter titles. I can actually bring us up where we can take a quick peek through at what those are possibly going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, it's launching on Monday, right? That's the thing to know.
Yeah, so, okay, there we go. So,
yes.
Yeah, there we go. We're going to show some items here at the end, but, yeah.
Ooh. I like this because it's about the act of creation, right? Somebody's making something.
They're beautiful. The detail alone in them is just
the workshop, yes. That looks just like my desk, really.
You're so magical. I imagine you actually live in, like, a proper hobbit hole, Wolfgang.
It's more hobbity than you think. I mean, okay, my wardrobe doesn't look quite like that.
Though I have to say, I wish my wardrobe would look like that. Look how organized and color coordinated.
Mm-hmm. Very magical. Good for the Seattle rain,
Yeah, good
snow
for the
kind of
Seattle
weather.
rain. So these are the chapter covers, correct? So we're giving maybe
Yes.
you a little sneak preview of what you might think the chapters for the book
Mhm.
might be. They're all kind of hint, hint, wink, wink there for you.
Yes. I like the alchemical one too.
Yeah, the colors in that one are what got me. I love the like weird, obscure like liquids and stuff. Very cool.
Yes.
So,
So
so
heavy on the chapter art there. I like where we're headed.
yes, heavy on the chapter. So, okay, so this thing's launching next week. Everybody in chat, if you haven't already signed up to get notifications about our Kickstarters, you can do that. So
Yes.
you know, don't miss. Haha, there it is. There's a link that'll take you there, and you can just sign up so that you get the notification when our Kickstarter goes live. And based on previous Kickstarters, like there's always like lots of cool extra stuff. Last time we got all these extra PDFs with
Yes.
Southlands. So a book of this size with extras is going to be rather impressive, I think. So kicks off. What's that date again? Monday.
Monday the 15th.
Monday the
President's
15th.
Day for those in the United States who have a holiday, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Holidays. They happen.
I was about to say, yeah, 2020 has destroyed all sense of time and order of my life.
I know. So Monday the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this upcoming Monday the 15th, it'll launch. So get that first notification there by signing up. So, like I said, you can be first in.
Yes. I mean,
Very
it's
excited.
a kind of book that is useful no matter what, right? Like if
Mm,
you're running a campaign and if you're not the stingy GM that everybody's like, damn it, I just want a +1 dagger, right? If you're not that guy, um, then this thing is just full of, I mean, yeah. So it takes me back to when I worked at TSR on Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like one of the projects we worked on was the Encyclopedia Magica, which was like 4 volumes of nothing but magical items. And they took like, okay, so this was like 1980, no, 1995, sorry, not that long ago. Um, 1995. So they had 20 years of Dungeons and Dragons history to pull from. The idea was every single item ever. Well, guess what? Kobold Press has been around almost 15 years now.
wow.
And the idea sort of sprang up at some point of that's a lot of magic items. What
Yeah.
if we kind of pulled that together? How much would that be? And Megan, I think you and Mark both did the research, and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a lot.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, just scads of stuff. And I don't think we're not going to do it in 4 volumes the way Encyclopedia Magica did, because those were soft cover books. We want a nice hardcover, right? Yeah, and they
Yeah.
were small. They were like, I don't know, they were some oddball, like the size of a novel, but with a soft cover. Anyway, they were wonderful and they were incredibly popular. But I mean, for TSR, it was, oh my goodness, we need to get several thousand items and tables to roll for those items, and everything needs to be alphabetical. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it started with Abacus. And Megan, maybe we don't start with Abacus as a magic item name, but we have things in the A, B, A something. And like it ended with, my brain says xylophone, but that can't be right. There was no magical. Well,
I
this
would
is,
play a magical xylophone. Now that's a bard character that
I
deserves
know, right?
life.
Like D&D from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Was there a xylophone? Probably. Um, I don't know. Whatever. It was A to Z, and so we're
Yeah.
doing that. But as you saw from the chapter art, we're breaking it up by categories.
Yeah.
There's also, okay, I have to tell this story, and Megan, you're going to appreciate this. Maybe you've already heard it, but the greatest D&D editing story of all time comes from the Encyclopedia Magica. Maybe you already know it. You probably do. I'm telling it anyway. Uh, this is when I learned to never trust, search, and replace. There was a typo in one printing of one volume of the Encyclopedia Magica, because there was an editor who was told from on high that we're picking up stuff from first edition AD&D and basic D&D and like all these editions. It was supposed to be for second edition. And the term we wanted to use was wizard, not mage. So being an editor, they said, all right, I'm going to replace instances of mage from some magazine article item with wizard. Only they weren't careful about it, and somehow it got through proofing. And there were dozens or hundreds of instances of the word "da wizard" instead of damage.
I could see where that was going, yeah.
Yes, you could see where it was headed, right? Like you're thinking, what could go wrong with a search and replace? What could possibly go wrong? It was like, this item does 2d6 points of da wizard. And it was hilarious. And the editor responsible was not fired, but didn't get to work on future volumes, I don't think.
Wow.
And, it was just one of those things where it's like, well, of course, search and replace, powerful tool. We need to take out this we don't call them mages in second edition. We call them wizards. And it's like, ever since then, when I do search and replace as a writer or an editor or anytime, it's like, am I going to de-wizard something? No.
You've turned it into a verb. I love it.
I don't want to. Right? Like, am I going to search and replace my way into oblivion? And it made me very, very cautious. The whole company was like, oh, did you hear? Did you hear? And it went around the editorial grapevines. And I swear I've told this story at Gen Con. And young editors, their eyes just go,
oh, yeah. Wow, that's...
But, yes, that was the Encyclopedia Magica. That's my favorite editorial screw-up. That will not happen in Vault of Magic. That's like... Vault of Magic is...
It is
the word mage.
The wizards.
I'm okay if we use the word mage, Megan. I'm just right now going to say I know the class is called wizard, but it's also warlocks and sorcerers. And if mage appears, I'm just going to trust players know what we mean, right? It's not worth the wizard.
Yeah, it's not. It is not worth the wizard. All right, Megan. So you scoured to find all the stuff, right, for this massive. Talk about that process. I imagine that was a long haul, but also super interesting. You had to dive way back into the history, like or the library, the Kobold library.
Yes, it's a lot of Kobold books. So I want to say maybe about 50% of this book is us gathering all of the fun, unique items from our previous stuff, right? So anything that was a little too specific to our setting or just wasn't really exciting enough to like grab me, we're not including that. So it's all the cream of the crop kind of stuff, right? But yeah, like we have done a lot. So pulling those in and then getting them updated, making sure that they fit with 5e rules and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then of course, for those that don't know, we have our Patreon. And with that, we're putting out like new adventure or like little mini adventures and our booklets every other month. And because of that, like a lot of those just like, here's one item right here, or here's like 2 little magic items here, or there's one book that's got like 10 staves in it, So it was a lot to dig through, but it was also really cool just to see like the breadth of what we've done, right? Like just being able to go through like the Kobold history to find all of these.
I imagine that was okay. I don't know. This might spoil an item. I'm not sure. But what was the most shocking or like exciting thing you found that you just like were not? It was the treasure of the treasure for the book.
I mean, it might spoil something for the upcoming actual play, but there's like a little spice box that I thought was really interesting, like, because, I mean, people have made cooking items and stuff before, but it was just something that I just never knew that we had come up with something like that. Cool. And it was just like a little box with a bunch of magical spices in it, right? And I was like, that's kind of neat,
Yeah,
like
the magical spice box, bam!
Right, you expect the cool glowing sword, you expect the cool armor,
right? Yeah.
But
never
like,
underestimate the spices, yeah.
I do a lot of home cooking these days, right?
Yeah. Man,
the value.
That's cool. Yeah, but I imagine that did get probably passed over to Rudy. That might have been a spoiler.
We'll see what crazy
Sorry.
use they make of it, right?
I'm very
They'll do
excited.
something weird with it.
My understanding is I got spoiled. They're doing it by season. So every 2 episodes is like winter season and they have to like create a menu and go find the stuff to make it happen. So it should be ridiculous. I'm excited.
It's an ingredient hunt.
Yeah, it's an
Ooh.
ingredient hunt, which could mean a beast. It
Or-
could mean spices.
I mean, I've run a lot of Zobek games, and kobold cuisine is always inedible. So I just hope that the chef is not a kobold character. Let it be a human, please. Someone with a palate.
Hey,
do we want to
kobolds have
spoil some?
palettes.
Yeah, I know.
Spoil some
But-
art.
Do we want to spoil some art or some items? Like, I think people
you
might
said
like
my
that.
favorite word, spoil. Let's spoil it. Y'all know how I love to spoil things on Kobold Chat. All right. Well, of the 5 we've got, which one y'all want to do first?
I mean, the order you had was kind of cool. We could do that.
Okay, perfect.
That leaves the I guess the most goofy one. Well, not necessarily goofy, but the most fun one for the last. Yeah.
The most fun. Okay, yeah. You're right. Okay, so well, let's start with the first one on the list, which is this potion of freezing fog. Hang on, I gotta pull my notes up so I make sure I actually say it right, y'all. There we go. Oh, did it go through? So it's very cool looking item. I love the bottle design. Did it transition over for all of you? It's giving its. Oh, there it goes. It's taking its dear sweet. Yeah. Very. Such
It's
a
a
cool
nice freezy thing,
Yep.
and I don't know. We get a lot of freezing fog in Seattle. I can see how it would be useful to keep that in a bottle, and occasionally cork it when things or uncork it when things go wrong.
Yeah, well, what I really like about this art is, I mean, if we're just talking about just the art, because we're separating things by items, right? We're separating everything into we're not doing abacus to xylophone, right? We're doing
Right,
like armor
right.
and then weapons and all that.
Mhm.
You know, it makes it a little easier to use the book as a reference book.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know the name of the sword, you just still need to go just to the sword chapter.
Right.
Instead
okay.
of looking up every item in the book. So for one of the chapters is mostly just like consumables, right? And and potions are consumable.
Oh.
And consumables are a little harder to do art for, right? Because
Yeah.
they're not very exciting. But I love how the artists have done, like this I think is a good example of how they're still making it look like magical,
Mhm.
right? And they're still making it look like a fantasy type of potion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though potions aren't the most exciting visually, right? They're not like flashy armor and stuff, but
Right.
I'm happy to have it in my inventory on a VTT, right?
Yeah.
Like this.
Yes.
And chat notes, that looks like a good kobold proof cap. Good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so cool. So I'm guessing this acts much like most exploding magic concoctions in a bottle, right? Like you smash it, or do you actually like release it?
You do drink it actually. So
you
it's
drink
kind of
it.
yeah, it's similar to, for those that are familiar with the potion of fire breath
Okay,
in the base D&D. It's similar to that. You like breathe out this like freezing fog.
Oh, that's even
and it
cooler.
creates like this fog that lingers, and then as people come into it, they're taking cold damage and they're freezing and stuff.
For some reason, I picture it. I'm dating myself. That scene in Excalibur where the fog rises and everything gets awful and yes.
Yeah, and horrid. Yeah. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of spoopy, really. What a cool and also, you know, like y'all know I'm all about a vibe, right? So like if I pick a character, I'm like I'm gonna really I like to lean in a lot, and this would be great for something that's like a necromancer or somebody that deals in like, you know, like sucks the life out of space and room, and just very cool. I love it.
If I were playing a kobold character, I would say that I've suddenly acquired dragon breath of some kind, right? I'm related to white dragons. That's the kind of kobold I am. I'll prove it to you all.
You've seen it here on Kobold Chats.
How to fake dragon breath.
Yeah. All right, so this next one is actually the one that interests me the most. Now, y'all know I got weird and eclectic taste. But I warned you ahead of time, so you knew what you were getting into. When you brought me on board.
Tell us.
So this one is called The Rod of the Jester. I'm very excited to even know what it does. I have no idea. I don't know what it does, but it looks very, very cool. Did it transition? Maybe. There it goes. Look at that.
There it is. Yes.
It is. You know what I found most interesting about it? I mean, it's beautiful artwork, but that the face of the Jester is actually the carved piece of wood, this, just impeccable detail. Just such a neat. It's just so eerie and creepy. Ooh.
I think it was it Creature Codex where we did the Grim Jester as a monster?
The Grim Jester's in Tome of Beasts, and then we have the Jack of Strings in Tome of Beasts 2.
It's Jack of Strings I'm thinking of. Right.
So there's two of them that are kind of gesturing.
Yes. And this one, we got to spoil at least one of the powers here, or sort of what it does, right? Because it could go a lot of directions. Megan, do you
That's what I'm here for, Wolfgang.
Oh, okay. Do it. Don't let me stop you.
The Rod of the Jester, I mean, at its most basic, allows you to be more Jester-like, right? So it has an ability that you can kind of dance around and have antics and stuff, and basically be like, hey, you guys, look at me. So if you're trying to help your allies escape or something, you can basically be a goofball in front of everybody.
It's a distraction rod, is what I
Right. Like you can cause a distraction.
Okay.
And then as expected, you can make people laugh. Right. So
interesting.
It makes it easier to make people laugh. And then the third one is like this kind of like almost bouncing effect. So if people get too close to you, you can like bop them with it, and it doesn't do damage to them. They just get pushed away from you.
I like it.
I do too.
Sort of a rubber mallet kind of.
It's like hitting somebody with a rubber chicken. Yeah.
Right.
You know what?
Yes, the design is actually in chat. Thanks, Jeff.
It's a very cool item too, because it's not lethal. And I think a lot of the times that when we talk about like wands and a lot of magical items, there's this idea of like lethality behind a weapon. And I love that this is like, no, just like boop, boop, keep your distance, like stay away from me. Or like I can make you laugh, something that we don't always see as a weapon, but could be used as a great weapon. I always think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where the hyenas like laugh themselves to death in the end, you know what I mean? But like laughter as a weapon, such a cool idea. Sorry, anyways,
the killing joke from Monty Python.
Yeah, yep. Yes, exactly. So a really just neat item, and the artwork is just stunning. So cool. I can like hear those little bells ringing.
There's plenty of grimdark stuff in the Vault of Magic, but this is one of the lighter hearted, and frankly, yes, give any gnome one of these and they're off to the races. Right?
Oh, you tempt me so much, Wolfgang.
Yeah. Maybe hedgehog folk. I don't know.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So I think next up is actually an item that people get very excited about. It's a musical instrument, y'all. And I'm gonna say this wrong, and then Wolfgang can correct me. It's the Shrutinandin sitar. Shrutinandin. Okay, I got it.
You're talking about the item from Kolkata, right?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Or the Musical Academy in Kolkata.
Correct. Here we go.
Yes.
Tell us all
about sitar.
It. Yeah, it is a sitar. It's a pretty beautiful instrument, actually, all in all, and kind of a little bit more, like less bulky than, say, a lot of stringed instruments, which is very cool, but it's really beautiful. I have no idea what it does, but it's a great design.
Yes, it is beautiful. And this actually, so the item's core ability is that it is very anti-fiend, like demons and devils. Oh. And it protects people. Like the music that it plays kind of protects people from demons and devils, and makes demons and devils less effective. And then the other extra abilities, you can cast a few little spells with it. And then as you can see on the art, it has like a little wolf on it. You can summon a handful of different creatures with it as well. To come aid you in the fight for good against the demons and devils.
There's no such thing as too many like amazing bardic musical instrument type things. I know we actually
have a few in the book, so I'm excited.
Did the Dwarven Warhorns make it?
They did, yes.
I ask only because I wrote them.
Maybe he's a little biased.
I'm slightly biased. Well, they were in an obscure issue of Warlock, I think, so I don't know. Not everything
good question from chat. Can you walk and play it?
Well, I mean, I would probably look up actual people who are accustomed to playing sitars and see how much mobility they have. But I'm assuming yes.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about sitar, but I have to be honest. The whole like protection against demons gives me a very like Devil Went Down to Georgia vibe. I just want you all to know that this is very like using music to like fight the forces of darkness.
All right,
cool.
Dot. Now I have a character concept because now I need a bard who actually did sign a deal at the crossroads.
Yeah,
like a Robert Johnson kind of.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, and now
a Robert Johnson bard. He's not about seducing everyone. He just wants out of this deal.
Yeah, he just made a bad deal, man. I love it. Yeah, very.
Yeah,
very
well,
cool.
I like this one, and I like the fact that the variety of. I mean, we have a lot of things from a sort of European musical tradition, but we've also got some stuff from the Southlands and other sorts of. I mean, it's a generic fantasy book, but it draws from a bunch of traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely that is one thing we tried to focus on in the book is making sure there's a wide range of things. So it's not just, Western Europe or something. Is
right.
There's a wide variety of items.
Yeah, I mean, even so, I'm a lucky dot and got a sneak preview of a file folder full of all these beautiful pieces of artwork with no idea what any of these things like did, and then they, for whatever reason, were like, Dot, you pick which ones we talk about. So y'all are seeing my favorite ones, and now I'm getting to learn all about them. So it's actually kind of cool because I'm being inspired by like, I could also see a really like a paladin, like a weird paladin multi-class with a bard for this. That's like, I shall play you my song of glory, yes. And so just like, and then they kick it old school style, which I think is really cool. So anyways, I'm getting hyped. We should probably go to the next one before I get too far down the character driven rabbit hole.
For the people asking if you can move and play it, I mean, you got to remember Mage Hand can hold stuff for you. So if you're worried about it, like being mobile, just like have it, a Mage Hand's holding it up and then you're sitting there playing it.
And hey, that's a great suggestion in chat too. If you got to sit to play the sitar, get yourself a flying carpet, friends.
There are carpets in this book.
Or a mount.
Magic has, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Just play from the back of your favorite mount of choice. I love it. I love it so much. All right, next I think is the only weapon we're actually going to show.
Oh, there's a ton of weapons in this book, but we're only showing one.
We're only going to show this one.
We haven't even launched the Kickstarter, so maybe
Wolfgang,
that's fair.
You're the one that's like, we only can do teasers, not a lot of items, and then you're like, why aren't we showing all of the weapons?
It's true. I was there, of the folder of stuff, there was like, you can't show any of these, and I was like, okay, but those are the coolest ones. But anyways, guess you're gonna have to get on the Kickstarter to find out more about that, y'all. All right, so this weapon is a sword, of course. We have to get a little old school. But look at it. It's called the Dawn Shard.
Yes,
Megan. Yeah. Okay. It's
fun, isn't
shiny.
it?
It's shiny.
It is very shiny. It can be even shinier, or even more shiny. Yes.
I don't think Strahd likes this sword. I think
Strahd,
undead
no.
hate it, right? I could be wrong.
No. I think you're right on the nose with that one. Yeah, it can shine with light, as you would hope from something called the Dawn Shard, and it's very, very good at taking care of Strahd-like creatures.
Yep. Talk about paladin vibes.
Yes.
There's
a ton of heroic item stuff here, like aligned with good. We didn't pick out any of the pure evil stuff, but there's a few things for villains, right?
I mean, but I'm a firm believer that anything can be turned into villainy.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. But we also can't start with like, hey, here's all the evil items. I mean, people are playing
Why
heroes.
not? Dungeon Masters love that stuff.
I heard stretch goals. What I heard.
That's right, dear Dungeon Masters. You can give these to your players, but you can also give them to the big bad.
Yeah, I mean,
well, we have plenty of evil items. We got some void-based items and stuff like that. So there's
the void magic. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we have any void magic pieces today.
No,
but we don't know what's coming in the future. I mean, we kind of do, but I know what's coming in the future. Y'all don't.
Dot knows all.
The omnipotent Dot. Actually, I tell
Yes.
people I got my name because I had a full-on. I was in college. I was at a party. Somebody had one of those posters that like "You Are Here," like universe posters, with like the whole Milky Way guys, and had the little red dot that's like "You Are Here," and I remember being like, wow, I'm so small. And just having this like full on, I came out of this party and was like, wow, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. And then I decided to become an artist.
Crisis.
Full on existential crisis. And that's how I picked my handle, Little Red Dot, which was like, here we are, y'all. So now you know the story behind that. But I say that because that's how I got it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the art on this is cool too because I like the little sunburst on the pommel there. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's a very it's a very specific type of sword. That was another thing. Like, this isn't a broadsword. This is actually like a short sword build, right?
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's short.
It's a short sword, a gladius, something vaguely Roman.
That could be used with like a shield. I think a lot of times all of our fighters like to have those like those nice big double-handed broadswords. But this is kind of cool, especially for those more nimble fighters. It's a nice weapon. It's very cool. Well, the next item actually, aesthetically speaking, would go really nicely on the hand of the person that wields this sword. That's what I say to that. So next up, we actually have a magical wearable item, which is the Ring of Bravato. Ooh. It's a very snazzy gold ring with I'm gonna guess that's a lion's face engraved in the front of it. Megan, tell us. I could guess, but I know I'll get it wrong. What is the Ring of Bravato?
When you wear the ring, you feel very brave. At the most basic.
Wait.
So it's a cursed item, is what you're saying.
Are you actually brave, or do you just feel brave? Because that could cause shenanigans.
I mean, it's a little of both. So when you wear it, you feel like really brave. You want to do daring acts that make you look heroic. You know, that whole I'm leaping from like a string on a chandelier type thing. The good news is that the ring actually helps you do things like that. So when you do daring acts, like I'm going to run down this hallway full of swinging axes, you get a bonus.
Oh, okay. So if you do Don Quixote the situation, right, you come out the other side. I get what you're saying. Okay, you get bonuses.
It's not guaranteed. It's the bonus. The bonus is a die roll. So if the dice gods aren't with you that day, you're still only getting a +1 to it. So
are you sure there are no evil items in this book?
It's just overconfidence. It's not really evil, or it's really this is the ring of reality TV, right? That's what we're talking about here. It's like, I can do it. Hold my beer. Yep. Hand me the ring.
This is hilarious.
I'm hand springing down the Hall of Axes. Yeah, so, I can do it. Watch this.
Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, this is a very interesting item because I think I'm always fond of items too that they're not really good or bad. Like in this case, this ring could be put on the wrong finger and really just somebody could Buzz Lightyear this situation. That's like, I'm brave enough to take on the whole army, and then they run in and die because a bonus is only, as Megan so pointed out, only a bonus. So it's really interesting. But then it could be what a character needs to like save the day. Right. So it's very cool. That's a very neat item.
I like the ones that are going to force characters to do something cool, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or force, encourage characters to do something cool and fun.
It moves them towards action, Like there's no talking about the Ring of Bravado.
We've all sat in those games where the party is just, what do we do now? Well, what do we do now? And the DM is like, I'm giving you a ring. It's free magical treasure. It's a Ring of Bravado. Just please do something.
Yeah. Here, somebody put this ring on and make
and let's move on to the next scene.
I love it. Yeah, chat, you're right. Georgia Jonas, the infamous NPC from our Southlands game, would love this ring. Okay, so those are the 5 items, because I can't spoil everything. But...
bummer.
But I will loop back and just play the cover art again so y'all can see that because it's just so beautiful. While we chat for the next few minutes before we kind of wrap the day up, but we have some big names working on this. I don't think we can reveal them all quite yet.
No.
Not yet. But I can say that they are, some of them, going to be joining me on the Kobold Chats over the next few weeks. So you'll want to kind of stay tuned to that because they, whether we do a pre-recorded interview or whether they're live, we'll be talking to some of the very special designers on some of these items that are going to be in the book.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Kobold Chat is going to be very exciting the next few weeks.
It is. I'm a nervous dot. I'm going to be honest with everybody.
You're going to be fine.
I'm a pretty nervous dot. It's actually very exciting. And it's always interesting to have a melding of the minds, which I think when you have a book like this, because Megan, you said it's 50%, about 50% pulled from the past, but that means the other 50% is new stuff. Right? Like all new stuff. So I think it's really cool to have a melding of the minds where you get a lot of people coming up with new items because the potential for something is just huge.
Right? I know early on when this was, well, what are we going to do? There was a stage where we're like, well, there's certain types of items in D&D that 5th edition doesn't have a lot of, right? Mm-hmm. And some of them are sort of by terrain or theme, like nautical and seafaring magic. How much is there really? There's a little, but let's get a few of those, right? Or Icewind Dale themed item. No, I mean Arctic items. How many of those are there? Well, there's a few northern snowy type items. Let's get a few more of those, right? So we deliberately went after things that aren't in the core rules. Mm-hmm. And then we also picked up things that, like, Warlock says, Dwarven Warhorns. They're a thing.
That's cool.
Let's see what we can do with them, right? So occasionally there are little sub-themes, like certain types of musical instruments, certain types of weapons, shields, cool armor. Oh, yes.
Shields and cool armor, yeah.
Yeah, I almost pulled an armor piece, but I was like, no, those are very cool. I'm going to save them.
Yeah, I think there's a whole discussion to be had on some of those because wasn't there at one point, Megan, we had like 1 million heavy armors and no medium or light armors or something like that?
Oh.
I mean, we still have a lot of plate armor, but now we've got other types of armor as well. It's not all just plate. And it's probably because plate is the easiest to have something really cool, right? When you've got, like, I'm wearing plate mail that's made of lava, right? Like you can have that kind of cool look. It's a little harder to do that with, sleeker leathers and stuff like that. But we do have some really cool leathers and stuff that are now in the book, but those are some of the newer ones that we added.
Every ranger, druid, and rogue thanks you.
It's true. I also, I think sometimes staffs get overlooked. Like, we get a lot of wands as magical items, but, like, the druid in me is like, I don't want a wand. I want a staff.
You'll be super happy then.
I peeped a few staffs in there as well. I didn't let my staff excitement out today publicly, but you should know it's there. I got very excited about the staff selection too. So it looks like, I mean, how many items do you think, Megan, are in this book?
Do I think or do I know?
There's a second question. Do you know? Do you know how many items will be in the book? Obviously, the Kickstarter hasn't launched, but
right. As of right now, it's around 1,000-ish. A lot of that kind of depends on stretch goals and stuff like that. If
some of that might get trimmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as the initial, grab everything and then we'll trim it down. But it'll definitely be a few hundred items in the final book.
Oh, wow. More than a few.
More than a few hundred, yeah, several hundred items. But
it's big. It's a lot.
Huge.
Well, I mean, some of them are short, right? Some of the potions you can describe in a paragraph. I like the fact that in 5th edition D&D you get item descriptions that are pretty compact, right? And that means there's room for more on a page.
Yeah.
And we can have a wide selection of some of those consumables are pretty straightforward. And then you get to your wondrous items, and every one of them is just a box of chocolates, right? It could be huge, it could be tiny. The editing on that must be interesting, because sometimes it's a figurine of wondrous power, and the first power it has is, right?
Yes, the wondrous items have been quite well. And wondrous in 5th edition are kind of the catch-all category, kind of like monstrosity for monsters. And speaking of our monster books, similar to with our monster books, how we have this kind of bell curve of item or of monsters in the book and in that book. For the item book, we also did something similar with power levels of items, right?
Okay.
We've got the really, like, you're gonna have to be like level 20 to use this item. There's not a lot of those in the book. And then conversely, I'm not even an adventurer, I'm just a farmer. There's not a ton of those, but we did add more common items because the common rarity is the one that's actually relatively lacking in 5e. There's not a lot of support for it. So we wanted there to be more of those like little day-to-day items that, you know, like the apprentice would use to play pranks or something.
Which is really helpful too for low-level characters. You know, like, when you, like, especially if you're going to start out as first level, like one of the horrible things about being a first-level character is like, you can't do a whole lot yet, but maybe you could have some cool items, even if they're common.
Right.
Cool items.
Right.
You know?
And some of them are even consumable, right? So you get this really cool thing, but then it's destroyed or something.
It's gone.
Right?
Yeah.
You get it once.
But yeah,
I
so
remember...
we've got like this bell curve of where the rare items are the highest number.
Yeah.
And rare is usually around level 5-ish.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right.
So then from there, you know, you've got uncommon and very rare on the other sides, and then so we've got a nice little
early
curve.
on, that curve is really great. There's just, I love the common items. I think they make a big difference early on, and you're always kind of happy to see them because they're useful.
Yeah.
But we made a decision on the other end too to say, you know, we're not doing artifacts and relics. That's a separate book practically. Or if we are, we're just doing a few. I think we actually do have a couple, but I swear, every designer, like, you ask them, so we'd like you to design some new magic items for us. And they're like, well, I'd love to do this relic and that artifact and this other thing. And I think it's more fun to design an artifact, even if you need to build a whole campaign around it to use it, than it is to design a common item, right? Which is... You got to think in a different way to make something that's got everyday utility and a low power level and a cool name and actually does something great in the game. But you don't need to build a campaign around it. And if you hand out 3 of them at level 1, you haven't broken it, right?
Yeah.
So they're really different kinds of design. And I wanted to be sure that, yes, there's a few items that you'll take away from the Lich King, but not whole chapters worth of that.
Yeah. We got some interesting questions and comments from chat. And now's a great time if you do have questions for Meagan and Wolfgang. We've got about 10 minutes before we're going to wrap everything up. So get those in. But some good things coming through. So some people are saying how excited they are about the campaign. But good question. Do some of the magic items coincide with magic from Deep Magic?
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
All right, there you go.
So some of the items that cast spells and stuff, they'll actually use some of the more unique magic from Deep Magic, like the Void Magic and Shadow Magic and stuff. Some of our staves and other... Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but yes, we do have items that utilize some of the magic and stuff.
Cool, okay.
I mean, it's sort of deliberate, right? Deep Magic... Part of what we did in that project was filing off the setting-specific Midgard stuff, right? So that it works anywhere. It's void magic, it's blood magic, it's shadow magic. And it's similar here, right? Like, it's meant to be used anywhere. So those two make a really nice pair. And at some point, I hope to see people talk about Deep Magic and Vault of Magic sort of in the same breath, the way people talk about Tome of Beasts and Creature Codex or something like that.
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
they're kind of linked.
Yeah. Oh, look, Wolfgang, did I show you?
What did you get?
My big girl rule book came in.
All right, you can kill small animals with that.
I really can. I was not prepared for the size of this book, but I have cracked it open. I got really excited, so I keep bragging because, like, it's such a great book, y'all. Look how beautiful it is.
Oh, wonderful. Always
I'll show
happy
'em-
to see.
when I finally get my hands on all of them, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'll make sure to show them off as I slowly put my little paws on them.
Yes.
So yeah, any more questions, chat? Now's a good time. I was trying to see what else was coming through. Yep. We got some love in chat. Let's see. Feel free to put out more wonderful adventures like the amazing Courts of the Shadow Fae and Tales of the Old Margrave.
Yes.
Yep.
I think
Well, we have Empire of the Ghouls. That's longer.
It is longer,
Yes.
yeah. We keep getting a lot of questions about monks.
Yes.
When will Wolfgang publish 1001 monks, huh? So it looks like Midgard
I
needs more
can
monk
be.
love.
This is not in this project, but I can say that I have looked at monk subclasses recently. I think that's all I'm going to say about that.
Heard it here first.
Like
y'all.
a bunch of them, and they were pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay.
For some reason, I was looking at those. Yeah.
For some reason, yeah.
I'm going to shut myself up
Yeah.
right now.
All of our faces guilty.
I mean, we technically have one monk, but it's the Sated Hunger in Underworld, and that's a
It's
little
super niche.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the Sated Hunger. My players hated that NPC in my version of Empire of the Ghouls. But yeah. I mean, if you're going to be a monk and you are undead, then you ought to be kind of villainous and awful. So
Seems probably true.
yeah.
Grounded in a different way. Yeah. Very nice.
But are there monk items in this? There are. I don't know. There's not anything.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to spoil, but we
I
do
think-
have a handful of items that aid in unarmed strikes, and we do have some that are like cool wrist wraps and bracers and things like that
Right.
that you would see.
My little arena monk just like, y'all, I'm gonna have to be like, hey, Noir, no items. I want them. Give them to me. Very cool. Well, there you go. So for all of you out there yearning for that monk life, at least you got some items coming your way that can spruce up your games. Staff of
Yes.
cough.
Jeff. Shh.
Jeff,
Goodness.
silence, silencio. Jeff knows too much.
The power.
We need to put him on chat.
Yeah, you know what?
Yep.
This is what happens, Jeff. Now you've been called upon. I shall summon you. Yeah.
After we launch it, maybe.
Yeah, after we launch it. So, as a reminder, it does launch Monday, speaking of. So, Vault of Magic, for those of you out there that are loving all of this Kobold Press content and the books coming out, this is just going to be another one you want for the shelf.
Yes.
So, make sure that you check that link if you're not already signed up so that you can get over to Kobold Press and sign up so that you get first notification when the Kickstarter launches on Monday, and you can get in on that. I imagine with the stretch goals and a lot of support, this book is going to be it's going to be pretty awesome.
I think so.
Pretty awesome.
It's pretty direct too, right? Like it's one book. It's one meaty, highly useful book as opposed to a book and other things, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to stay laser focused on, we're going to make this a book that just shows up at the table all the time.
Yeah.
And that the items in it, show up in character stories and character arcs and villains make use of them. So I guess it's part of that Kobold Press, I don't know what you call it, a pillar, a motto,
staple.
staple,
yeah.
which is stuff you actually, pile into and say, oh my goodness, this is so great. I'm gonna put it everywhere.
And if you're like a GM like me too, like y'all know, I keep saying this, I love weird stuff. So like anytime I go to build a campaign, I'm like, what's the weirdest, most obscure kind of thing that we could think about? And I think having a book with this many items, it's very easy for a GM to reference things, to find something to build a campaign off of, to make that villain that much more villainous. Like so yeah, I think it's gonna be I'm very excited to actually finally get hands on copy and see it in action.
Well, Another good thing too about us being laser focused for this particular Kickstarter is that it does open up more opportunities for us to do better things and do more art and stuff, right? So we can expand more on the current book, so that we can have like, instead of only like 10 items per chapter illustrated, we could do like 20 or 30, right? So
yeah,
that kind of allows us, so the stretch goals that would be focused on some of the other side stuff, we can then be like, hey, more art, you guys want to see some cool items? Here's some cool items.
Every stretch goal makes this a better book. Yes, not some other book that you didn't pledge for, not the supplement.
Yeah, this one. One. That's a great point. Well, I am also excited. I didn't really mention this at the top, but we are planning a Vault of Magic one night, like one shot, coming up here in February. It's going to be at the end of the month, so keep your eyes on social media as we announce that. Might get to see some of these items actually in action as they do like a one shot, and I look forward to seeing what the GM pulls for that. I don't know who that is yet, but as soon as I know, y'all will know. So hit those stretch goals. Yes. Well, thank you, chat, for being with us today. We're going to go ahead and close up, say last minute thoughts. Wolfgang and Megan, any last minute thoughts as we barrel towards the launch of Vault of Magic on Kickstarter this upcoming Monday?
Oh, there's so much. We barely scratched the surface is the thing, right? I feel like we spoiled a bunch, but it's such a rich trove, and literally 15 years of stuff brought forward. The art is spectacular. Some of the designers we're bringing in, it's going to be great. And right, like, and we're going to talk about specific elements of it in the weeks to come, but by all means, come check it out on Monday, because I haven't been this excited since like the last Tome of Beasts, just because.
Yo, look at Wolfgang getting all giddy. He's so giddy about it.
It's so useful. I used to have to remember where everything was. Was it in this adventure? Did we publish this in a world book? I can't recall. Was that in Deep Magic? Where's that darn item? I can't find. And it's the same impulse that led to the Encyclopedia Magica, which is, I'd really like there to be one place to find all that cool stuff that I've been doing with Kobold Press for 15 years. And this is it. It's all in one place.
Oh, man, it's so cool. I already have so many ideas. Oh,
I no longer have to be the person of, Megan, what book was that in again?
Megan's like,
aren't you tired of that question, Megan? Yeah. You can answer that question. You say, it's in Vault of Magic, Wolfgang.
Right? Yeah, super easy now.
Now you can say it is in Vault of Magic. Well, we will wrap up for today. Thank you both so much. Thank you, chat, for hanging out, for being here. Check that link one more time. Do not miss the launch of this on Monday. And we'll be back here, same Kobold time, same Kobold channel, next Wednesday, as we continue talking about this Kickstarter and some of the things and people involved in that project. So definitely a not want to miss. And between now and then, you got two actual plays here on this channel. Sunday, you can check out Into the Southlands as we continue full on Southland shenanigans. And you can join us Monday for a brand new show called Order Up in the Free City of Zobek, as a group of, I'm gonna call them adventurers attempt to run a restaurant in the Free City of Zobek. So we'll see how they contend with nearby restaurants. I think I told everybody, y'all love this. I can spoil this because it's mine. I'm the swing character, so if anybody can't be there, I'll be joining the crew for whatever that day's event is. But I think I'm gonna be the health inspector.
I've been called forth once again to this pit of swill.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be a paladin, a health inspector. So good luck, everybody. We'll see how that turns out. But we will definitely see you back here next week as we continue our chat on the Vault of Magic. Until then, bye, everybody.
Bye,
bye all.